Hello everyone, this is Teddy Roosevelt. I just want to introduce a video that my son made serving on a mission in Berlin, Germany right now. I told him about an experience I had when I was 11 years old as a Boy Scout with an Army troop, Army and church co-sponsored troop. But anyway, our troop visited Berlin back in 1983, and it was still a divided city at the height of the Cold War. And we saw Checkpoint Charlie, we saw No Man's Land. Basically, we came as close as you can come to quote-unquote seeing the elephant. At one point, our scoutmaster took us to Galenica Bridge, better known as Bridge of Spies, which runs east-west between the southwest part of Berlin, part of West Berlin, in what was then the American sector on the east, and East Germany on the west. He sat us down, and right on the north side of the bridge, and we could see across the river. We could see guard towers with men with machine guns in the guard towers, watching us, very interested in us. We're just sitting on the bank of the river, and we could see them, and we could see that they were ready to rock and roll at the drop of a hat, to put it like Al Pacino in Heat.
They didn't hesitate. Pop guard number 3, because what difference does it make? Why leave a living witness? Drop of a hat, these guys will rock and roll.
My scoutmaster said to us, if any of you want to start an international incident, throw a rock into that river. Which I don't understand why he said that, because I mean, that's my style, to be like, oh, okay. But no, we had already been to Checkpoint Charlie. We were already like pretty shocked by how real all of it was. And he said, everyone take out your passport and look at it. And we all had US passports, a bunch of Army brats. And he says, I want you to understand, there are people in this world who would kill for your passport, who do not enjoy the freedoms you have. People on the other side of that river. Oh, and also they have spikes in the river if you want to try and swim across. They're not going to let people escape into West Berlin and freedom. So West Berlin was this little island of freedom. And once you got to West Berlin, you could find a way to the Western world and what was then civilization from behind the Iron Curtain. When the Berlin Wall came down, I had a mixed reaction. Number one, of course, good. I'm glad it came down. My second thought was, oh, well, all these kids my age who have never been to Germany and never seen the Berlin Wall close, that now they'll never know. Now they'll never understand how close we came, what a real threat communism was. And my impression at that point has been borne out. And this rising generation has no clue, because they don't have a lot going on in Berlin anymore. They have a few memorials here and there. Checkpoint Charlie's just a guard shack in the middle of a very westernized street now. We need to remember that the U.S. is a force for good in this world. And what just happened with Iran was going to happen. It was inevitable, in my opinion. And it's a good thing. And the Lord is in charge. I'm willing to have conversations about the rightness or wrongness of our action, but just remember, back in the day, there were people that were willing to say Reagan shouldn't have said, Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall. Now, with 2020 hindsight, everybody's like, oh, that was perfect. That was exactly what Reagan needed to do. He needed to stand up to the Soviets. Back then, there were people that were like, oh, he's going to lead us into World War III. Anyway, just food for thought as I introduce my son's video. Enjoy. And enjoy your freedom for me to post this and for you to watch this.
This is the Galenica Bridge, And it's also known as the Bridge of Spies because there were multiple spy exchanges that happened during the Cold War. Because on that side over there is Potsdam, which is East Germany. And then on this side here that we're on, this is West Berlin. And so this used to be a significant border. And about 45 years ago, my dad was here. And he was with his 11-year-old scout troop. And they sat on the bank somewhere over here, kind of like what we're doing. We have a nice picnic going on. But my dad was on the bank somewhere. And his scoutmaster said, if anyone wants to get shot or start an international incident, then throw some rocks into the water. Because on the bridge and on the other side, there were guards that were able to be seen because, of course, the border was highly protected. Because my dad was in Berlin during the Cold War when his dad was doing military surveillance on Russian radio chatter. And so that was a long time ago. And during that moment, the scoutmaster also had my dad and the other scouts pull out their passports, and he had them look at their passports and reflect on the freedoms they had. He talked about how many people would kill to have those passports at that time, and how blessed they were to have not only been in the promised land, to be in the United States, but also to have priesthood power in their homes. And so, of course, in today's world, I'm lucky enough to be in. It's different. We have members around the world, and there's freedom overall. And I am now going to take the opportunity to throw these rocks in without starting any sort of incident. So that's that. So it's cool that I'm here, Dad, and I love you. Bye.
Vielen Dank, lieber Sohn. You have no idea. You have no idea how awesome it is to see you throw rocks into that river by the Glenica Bridge and not start an international incident. And believe me, it would have. Back in 1983, it would have started an international incident. It is interesting to hear my son retell one of my stories, and he was listening. He was paying attention. Careful the things you say, children will listen. Wow. Wow. Something as simple as throwing a rock in a river. And there are places in the world today that are both third world and second world, which is what we used to call the Soviet Union, second world, because they were under communist dictatorship. And there are still third world and second world parts of the world that do not enjoy either the liberties or the economic blessings that we enjoy in the Western world, by and large, and most of the world now, I would say. But the Western civilized world, it is an absolute blessing, and we have freedom to worship as according to the dictates of our conscience, and that means freedom for atheists too, and agnostics. You don't have to worship anyone. You can be labeled a heretic by the church you grew up in, and guess what? That's okay. That's not a crime. It's not true of every place in this world. And until that is true, we have work to do. We're not celebrating 250 years of the First Amendment yet. That's in another decade from now. Thanks for watching, and God bless America. God bless our children, and God bless the rising generation, and God bless the world. God bless all the good and honest, in heart, sincere people in the world, whether they believe in God or not. God bless them. Thank you.